Hello, I'm Gabe, and look, do you notice what's going on behind me? This door has an even amount of blocks, and the street and the entrance has an odd number of blocks. This is terrible, and there's holes in the floor. So what are we gonna do about this problem? Well, I see one of two options. We could rebuild the entire base or dig up the road and the bridge. Both sound pretty annoying, but one is definitely a lot easier than the other. But before we get into that, welcome back. It's good to be playing Minecraft Survival once again. In our last couple episodes, I definitely think we've bit off a bit more than we can chew. So for the next couple, I'm going to try and conquer some of the smaller, more reasonable goals that I have in this Minecraft world. Starting with some reparations, because in the last episode, we downgraded the world and pretty much completely destroyed spawn. Everything in chests or that had some sort of data tag got absolutely deleted, including the map we used to have here on this billboard. Oh man, this tough house absolutely got destroyed. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that too. I guess tough didn't exist in that version of Minecraft. And okay, I think that should fix it, except for this railway. We forgot about the villagers. Yeah, so my idea with this area is to eventually have a nice village that's all walled off and safe so the villagers can roam around. And this was our first house, and these were our first villagers. We've got Ryan and Josiah, who sold us a map to the trial chambers, and to be honest, now they're kind of useless, but they are the first inhabitants of our town. So I've got to take good care of them and get them back into their house. In the next episode, we're definitely going to have to get them some friends. And all right, Ryan is back home, and I don't want to keep them in minecarts, but I also don't want them traveling around and getting killed by zombies. So we're going to figure out a way to block off this door. I think that using double carpet still works. They aren't able to pass fine through it or something. So we're gonna try that and hope it works. And then over in the back here, let's close these fence gates. And hopefully that's enough to keep them in this area. Well, okay, we're just gonna have to hope they don't get out. But let's go, let's free these guys. Looks like they're walking straight to their workstations, very nice. Hey, our tough villagers are trying to get out. I think the carpet's working. I don't think they can actually walk through here. Maybe that's just because they're too tall. Either way, it looks like it's working, so that is a big win. I started writing down ideas in this little to-do book here, and that is the tough house done. We're also in 1.21.5 now, so we might find a couple new items. But first, we gotta do something about this bridge. Either we're gonna have to widen it by 1 block or make it skinnier by 1 block, because the tower is based on an even center and the bridge is based on an odd center, and it just does not line up. So I think we're probably just gonna have to scoot one of the sides of this bridge in by 1 block. Not the biggest deal, but I really wish I had thought of that when I built it in the first place. And now I'm getting distracted once again because I realized last episode, all of our stuff got destroyed in a giant explosion. And so I have all these crappy tools. Let's go get those enchanted real quick. Oh, that's right. Piglin farms don't give XP anymore. Well, for now, we still have villager training to get us XP, but I definitely need to add an XP farm to the to-do list. Trading, 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 trading. Yeah, we're definitely gonna need an XP farm. Getting even more off track, all these shulker boxes over here were moved from the original base so we could save all those items from being deleted when we downgraded the world. So I've got to move all these items back, and let's see if there's any goodies in any of these chests. Ooh, it looks like this was someone's pick, and the rest is mostly bamboo that we were using for smelting. But that's fine, let's just put all this stuff back. Let's dig up these rails and dump the remaining items into the auto sorter. And look at that, I totally forgot to do the map. But now that we're back in the spawn area, let's try and get that done. And why don't we just make this map even bigger? Let's make it a 5x5. And you know what, we're moving its location. All right, and there's the frame done, moved it over by the subway. And so now I just gotta get a bunch of maps to put into the thing. And all the maps are mixed up in my inventory, but oh, that one does not look like it goes there. But I think we can get all these maps in place, and then I'm just gonna duplicate them all to the other side. This is not the right way. There we go. There it is. That's our map. It's looking a little empty, especially in this area, but I think we're gonna put a big farm right around here pretty soon. Maybe not this episode, but pretty soon. And now the spawn area is looking a little bit better. It's finally time to even out this bridge. Let's So here comes the time lapse, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, can you notice a difference? Probably not, but that's all right. It looks a little bit more uniform. The floor is no longer cobblestone, and most importantly, when you're walking up the bridge, it looks completely even up to that doorway, which is pretty nice. The rest of the road now, unfortunately, has to get dug up and moved one block in, but I think we'll just kind of do that as we build out the town. And the last thing we're going to do today to kind of set up for this town building project is finally move the iron farm. It's been here since the beginning and it has been absolutely great. Designed by ENX04. Let's go down here and see. Oh yeah, it's definitely still been producing a ton of iron. But unfortunately, it's right in the middle of the village. So I think it just makes sense for us to finally remove it. Hi villagers, how's it go? Oh no, there's lava, watch out! Oh no, it's all over. And that's the iron farm all dug up, and now it's time to build an iron farm. I also grabbed quite a bit of obsidian because I want to do a portal-based iron farm, which is something I've never done before. But theoretically, it should make the farm a tad bit faster because the iron golems get teleported out of the spawnable range a bit faster. Anyway, we are headed west. If you look at the map, we're going along this path over to past the drowned farm, and then all the way to where this raid farm is, and there's also an AFK guardian farm here, so I thought this would also be a good spot to park our iron farm. Don't really know why I'm traveling in the overworld. Hello, nether turtles. Where does this go? Alright, we are about to find out. And we're in the middle of nowhere. I've never been here before. Although this has got to be new terrain, which means you could probably find firefly bushes around here somewhere. Oh, these are new. Wow, a bush. Oh, and look over there, firefly bushes. Wow, more particles. I don't mind that they add this kind of stuff. It adds a lot of variation to the blocks that we can use, but personally, I'm not good enough of a builder to actually take advantage of that. But I do enjoy seeing all these little variations and use of different blocks in other people's builds. It's just not something that I get very excited about. Anyway, I'm once again getting distracted. Let's head over to the spot. This was the portal I was supposed to go into. Here we are at the old raid farm. It did pretty well for us. There's probably still a ton of stuff here. Yeah. But alright, what are we building today? We're building an iron golem farm, an iron farm. So let's set up a little base of operations right here, and then I will explain what I'm about to be up to. So in order for iron farms to function, we need 3 villagers and 3 beds, and that will create a village. And I want to try and get all the villagers to wake up and spawn on this block, which hopefully will mean that the village center will be on exactly this block. From there, we can make another village. I believe it's 17 blocks away. So we're basically just going to end up making a bunch of these villager holding cells, which should look something like this. And then we'll start with 4 farms and see how that works. And then the next step is to build a bunch of portals. And so what's going to happen is we're going to have these 2 wide platforms, and then we're going to have a portal on either side, and what should happen is the iron golem should spawn on the platform and then immediately get sucked into the nether through the portal. And this is going to be a lot of obsidian. Also got to add buttons on the top to spawn proof it, and that is a wide portal. Alright, now for the next conundrum, how are we going to get villagers up here? So looking at the map here, the villagers are right here in this area, and so it's almost possible to sail from over here all the way to our farm over here. Almost. The issues are getting from this side over here. We could either go up this way and then probably have to dig out a little bit here. and then get up through this gap. But what I propose is that we make a canal going through this village right here. I think that would be pretty cool, and then we could sail through over to where the drowned farm is, and then have a pretty straight sail all the way to the side where we'll just have to take a little curve around here to get over to our farm. So yeah, now this episode is taking even longer because we're going to build a canal. I think we're gonna do a very simple one. Do we have any bricks? Well, we got some brick stairs. That's a start. Okay, we definitely have some stone to play with, which is great. Probably gonna need most of it. And that'll probably be enough. If not, we always have more. Let's grab some cobblestone too. And we got a bit of gravel. All right, this is the area. This is a strange village. They got crops right on the edge of the world here. Huh, okay, we can work around this. I think I'm going to time-lapse this one because it's gonna take a while and I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna do about it. So, yeah. Well, there it is, our little canal. And now that these two pieces of water are connected, we should be able to take some villagers from the villager breeder and bring them along all the way to the other side of the world. Right down here, looks like there are plenty of villagers and even an iron golem. And now, goodbye. Get in the boat, thank you. Now for the moment of truth. We can put a lead to that boat, and then if we get in this boat, will we be able to pull the other boat along with us? That is the question, and it does seem like the boat broke. Oh, he's stuck on this path. I think besides that path, this should actually work with two leads. Now if I put a lead on this guy, and then get in this one, we should be able to travel. Let's go. That actually works. This is gonna be quite a journey. Are you guys ready for it? We got Tony and Gerda. And yes, we're off on an adventure. I'm going the wrong way. That was a good start. Okay, we're going this way. Yeah, the weather has taken a turn for the worse, but I think Tony has decided to play nice. Gerda 2 is in. That's going the wrong way, isn't it? There we go. I always forget the furthest minecarts exist, but that was definitely a lot easier than trying to push these guys. All right, get to it, people. There you go. Look at that. Starting already. Let's see if this works. Soul sand like that. And so the idea here is that the zombie will bob up and down, which will constantly break line of sight with the villagers. And that's necessary because villagers need to sleep every 20 minutes, otherwise they won't spawn iron golems. So hopefully that works. Now we just gotta build a couple more platforms. And okay, it's now nighttime, so let's try and get a zombie. I put together a little dirt platform over here, and it looks like we have a zombie. All right, right this way, Mr. Zombie. And now let's see if we can trick this guy into getting in this hole. Open this trap door. Nice. Cool, we got a zombie. Now it's time for the villagers, and this is where it gets annoying. Does anyone want to cooperate? Let's see, entice him with some bread. There we go. Be a responsible villager. Thank you. At least someone has some sense in this place. Look, I had to dig up all the other beds, but let's bring another guy and see if he also wants to choose a new bed. And of course. But yeah, we're just kind of waiting for villagers to breed. As you see, we've got a ton of villagers now who are somehow defying physics. All right, this process is going to take forever. And now all we need to do is actually finish the farm and test it out. So let's go do that now. Well, I absolutely had no intentions of making a giant iron farm today, but I decided to make a second layer, and then I decided to make a third layer, and then I decided to make 10 layers. So that's why I'm building all this dirt up and all these platforms. Each one of these platforms is gonna be a village with 3 villagers. So there's 10 levels total, and each level has 8 villages, which means there's gonna be 240 villagers and 80 zombies in this farm. Why did I do this to myself? I'm not really sure. But as you see, I've expanded the villager breeding station, and I'm also making these platforms for mobs to spawn on so I can get zombies really easily. And I set the replay to daytime only, which is why you're seeing mobs spawn in the daytime, but in reality, it's switching between day and night. I had originally intended on using pillagers, but I didn't really want to deal with the hassle of taking pillagers all the way over here. And like usual, dealing with villagers is always a pain. A lot of them wouldn't go in their beds, and those villagers became dead villagers. After the first level, I also changed up the spawning platform design because these double portals that I had done on the first level don't actually work in the current version because they changed the portal's hitbox. And also, I thought it was kind of cool to see the iron golem spawn and then get pushed into the portals. It's maybe slightly less efficient, but we've made up for that with the sheer number of farms in this iron farm. Here I've turned the day and night cycle on so you can see what's actually going on, me trying to lead these villagers into their beds, and you know, a lot of them did start to cooperate once they got in the flow of the things. At nighttime, the villagers would just hop straight into their beds, so it wasn't really a problem. And after almost an entire night of moving villagers into their villager pods, all that was left to do was light the portals and break the trapdoors on the zombie pods. Oh, and removing the chains and replacing them with trapdoors because the chains are actually blocking line of sight, which is a little annoying because originally I had planned to use trapdoors, but then I saw chains in someone else's design and thought that was really cool. But the chains didn't actually end up working in my design, so we went back to trapdoors. And with that, as you can see, iron golems are spawning and the farm is complete. Well, I may have made a small mistake. There are iron golems everywhere, and that is because this portal over here was actually too close to the killing chamber. I built a new killing chamber right here, as you can see, and it works fantastic. But this portal was all the way over here, and some of the iron golems were linking to that and escaping onto the nether roof. But lesson learned, do not make your nether portals less than 16 blocks away from each other on the nether side. As long as you abide by that rule, linking portals to the overworld shouldn't be too much of a problem. But anyway, let's look at the kill chamber because I realize I don't have any footage of this. So obviously the iron golems come through the portal here, and just as more come in, they will get pushed into the lava where they will die and their items get picked up by these hoppers. We have 5 hoppers going this way and 5 hoppers going the other way, and the setup is basically just mirrored. We have an item filter here which picks out the iron ingots, while everything else follows this hopper line and goes into this dropper, which will automatically drop items into the fire and destroy them. The filtered iron ingots go into this crafter, which will craft the items into iron blocks. Finally, those iron blocks are loaded into a shulker loader over here, and I don't think we'll ever need that much iron. But But now we're gonna just take a look at the farm in action, as I'm sure you guys would like to see the results of all the building. And in order to do that, I was considering making a chunk loader with ender pearls and soul sand, because now that will load chunks, all you gotta do is throw it out. Well, okay, don't hit yourself. But if you throw an ender pearl into a stasis chamber like this, ender pearls would now load chunks like a chunk loader. Or so I thought. In my testing and going into the nether side, this didn't actually seem to work. So if anyone knows what's going on there, let me know. But I don't really intend on keeping this thing loaded all the time. As you're about to see, this thing produces so much iron that I don't think I will ever have to come here for more than an hour or so. Meaning I'm totally happy to AFK at this farm. And well, you've seen the overworld side plenty as we've been building it. Lots of iron golems spawning on these platforms, but you haven't seen the nether side, which looks really cool. So I'm gonna bring in the alt account so we can get a look at that. And here I am, long live the Empire, and take a look at this. Iron golems spawning left and right. It's just like an infinite waterfall that is also extremely noisy. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. This might be one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. So last thing before we end this video, I want to see what the performance rates on this farm are. So I'm going to clear out the shulker boxes once again, and then we're going to count how much iron this thing produces in an hour. We're going to start the timer and catch back with you in exactly 1 hour. It's been exactly 1 hour, and so I'm going to go and dig up both of these shulker boxes, and then we're going to see how much iron we've got in 1 hour. All right, let's get away from the noise and look at the damage. Oh my gosh, that is a lot of iron. So one full shulker box and then an extra row and a little bit. Let me do the calculations real quick. And all right, the first time around I had calculated we get 41 ingots per minute, which I was like, wow, that's pretty good. But I did think that was a little low, and then I realized I forgot to multiply that by 9. I was counting iron blocks, not iron ingots. So assuming I did my math right the second time, the total calculations are, we collected 2,457 iron blocks, which is 22,113 ingots, meaning we make 368 ingots per minute, or just over 6 ingots a second. That is right. That is absolutely unbelievable. That's about 92 iron golems per minute, or 1.53 iron golems every single second is coming through that portal. This may have been quite a process to build, but I think it's safe to say we will never be having an iron problem ever again. And with that, I think I can finally go to bed. So I'll just finish off by saying we have accomplished so much today, from repairing the spawn area to re-enchanting our items, building a canal, and making a treacherous journey with some villagers over to their final destination, this iron farm. Today has been great, and I hope to catch you next time. Goodbye.